Hello, everybody. Anthony Cumia, Anthony Cumia Show. Right away, I want to get to our guest. Uh, just a recognizable man. Many years you've seen him on various news agencies and TV shows. Larry King. How are you this afternoon, Larry?
Anthony, what's been going on here? I've been sitting here for 15 minutes and nothing's happening. What is this? Is this
Larry,
a television show, a radio show? Is
and I,
this an off-cable show? Are we being seen or heard?
we are being both seen and heard, Larry, much to viewers' chagrin when my face hits the screen. But people want to see you. Your identifiable suspenders, the glasses, the
I
hair.
see you now. There you are. I see you. You have my background behind you. That's a very nice
I
tribute. That's
I thought as a
all
little homage to the many years we enjoyed watching you interview so many people, Larry, that I would rip off your background and use it today as we speak. Larry
and
King.
as you speak to me, you're seeing my background, which is my new show on Aura, which is in its third year on the internet. So that's my background, and now you're using my background. So you're getting the best of both kings.
The best of both kings. Larry King, of course, Larry King Now on Aura TV / Larry King Now. And what is this Politic King? Politicking.
It's politicking.
Politicking.
I do that. I do the Larry King Now 3 times a week and twice a week in the same time slot. I do politicking, which also airs on Aura TV, Hulu, and it airs on RT cable TV. So I'm like everywhere.
Larry, have you been accused, like many other people, of being biased in your political views? Because I've noticed over the years, watching interviews with politicians, you are very fair.
I've always been fair. They used to do a contest that was I a Republican or a Democrat. On my Twitter, I give a lot more opinions. I have like 2,800,000 followers, so I tweet opinions occasionally. I never announce who I vote for. I always try to keep a balance. I always try to be fair. I never had an agenda. I try to ask good questions, good follow-up questions to the answers, and let the audience decide. I had a motto once that if I never learned anything when I was talking, and there was no need to use the word I.
That's a
so
good
I didn't
motto.
use the word I didn't use the word I in my interviews because I technically thought I was the conduit from me, the guest through me to the audience.
Yeah, I understand that. Sometimes it does get a little strange, though, to not reference yourself if you have a commonality in its subject that you want maybe to.
Well, if I'm interviewing a heart surgeon and I had heart disease, I would say I had heart disease, but I wouldn't elaborate into my case. I would want him to discuss the general case because my case is an individual case. I could give an example.
Mhm.
So that might occur on a rare occurrence, but that would be a classic, an exception to the rule.
Okay. Do you now what I see these days, especially with journalism, and sometimes we have to use that term lightly. A lot of people are putting opinions out there and their own ideology and political bias.
That's the new wave. What we have now in America. I miss the old days, and I don't want to sound like an old crockety old guy, but now it's they're talking more than the guest. The guest is a prop for the host. The host's opinions count. So we got right-wing radio, left-wing radio. We got Fox News. We got MSNBC. They're both preaching to the choir. I don't think they have any national impact. I don't think Fox News could elect a president. I think they're just preaching to the choir.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. It's entertainment now is the problem. Right. But I look back and think back to the definitive newsman, Walter Cronkite. And even he at some point put his opinion of the Vietnam War out there, and it really did change the complexion of the country and how they felt about that war. Was that the beginning of what we are seeing now?
It might have been. I interviewed Walter many times, and I was honored to get the first Walter Cronkite Award. He presented it to me personally. It's given every year, and he was still alive, and he presented it to me. But that changed America's view of the war. He was the most trusted man. There is no Walter Cronkite now.
No.
He was the most trusted man in America. People tuned to him, and when he went to Vietnam and came back, and said literally that this war is a mistake. That changed the public opinion. It went from 60% in favor to 40% in favor, and then it kept dwindling. It led to the tragedy of Lyndon Johnson, who was a great president, except for that war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cronkite changed the picture, and then it went really changed. And now I don't know what we have now. Social media, it's all a hodgepodge. I'm not a great fan of it. I tend to watch mostly sports.
That's the safest way to be. Now, interesting you bring up social media. I wanted to speak to you about that because I don't think this influx of information that we're getting is able to be disseminated by people. At first, I think there wasn't enough information years ago. We definitely were on a 24-hour delay, at least on international stories. Even local stories took a while to break in on local news back in the up until probably the 80s. Now with social media, there's this instantaneous exchange of events that are going on, but I don't think it's good because we're getting zero accuracy.
Anthony, that's a great point. I agree with you 90%. The advantage of it is immediate. The disadvantage is it's immediate. In other words, it's get it fast rather than get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in every advance, the technological advances are amazing. I mean, they're amazing. The whole internet world is amazing.
Sure.
Where is the internet? How does it exist? It's unbelievable.
Where is it?
It's unbelievable, and it's led to an amazing techno. Uber is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Uber is a tremendous service. I mean, all these kind of things are the product of the internet.
Right.
So that's wonderful. And if you know, you could say, if we never built an airplane, there'd never be an airplane crash. So every advance there are detractions to advances.
Great
the good
point.
thing now is, here's a good thing. If something big happened right now, Anthony, the whole world would know it in a minute.
Yes.
So that's good. We know what's going on. The world gets closer together. Here's the bad. It's made newspapers irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I used to read the newspaper to find out the news. There's no headline that surprises me anymore. But I still read newspapers for in-depth. But what you get now is rumors, wackos. Everybody's a journalist, bloggers. It's an insane world of information. A lot of it wrong.
It really is astounding how this medium has given everyone the thought that they can be this newsbreaker. They are the new Woodward and Bernstein out there. They're going to break the big story. And it's just not that way because 99% of these, I'm sure there's a couple of very talented people out there that have some type of ethics with what they're doing with this new medium. But for the most part, it is a bunch of people chasing click-throughs and chasing some kind of self-popularity.
Here's a plus, though. The cell phone brought down the Boston bombers.
Mm-hmm.
It caught them.
Yes.
That terrible thing in South Carolina yesterday of that police officer shooting a guy 8 times in the back. Had there been no camera, we'd have never known the truth of that story.
Right.
And now you could hang the guy now. There's no trial necessary. You know, we saw it.
Yeah.
So that's a plus. There were a lot of good and bad. And the problem, Anthony, is we can't do anything about it.
No.
We can't reverse progress.
We can't. And that point about if we hadn't invented airplanes, there would be no air crash is a brilliant point. We do usually only see one side of something. We like to look at something as good or bad as people. We rarely see a good balance in here. What I see as far as the potential of social media and this ability for us to exchange ideas instantly, I like the idea of it, and I like to think we're better as human beings to use that technology better than we are now. But now I'm very cynical about what I see on most of the internet.
I agree with you. In other words, we have the technology is way ahead of the human advance.
Yes.
So someone said since cavemen, human have advanced 100 years. Technology has advanced 7,000 years. So it's way ahead of us. And if it's way ahead of us, keeping up with us, you know, that's why people fear that someone's going to drop a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Because someone's going to come up with a bomb that you could put in your hand.
And
That's a nuclear that could blow up a city.
that
And
would be,
someone's going to, and see, there's a scientist somewhere working on that.
yeah.
There's also a scientist working on a way to beat the machines at the airport.
Oh, right. Of
Somebody's
course.
working on that.
Why wouldn't they?
Now, someone would work on it for good. I want to get through faster. I don't want to be tied up at the airport. So I invented this little thing, and I give it to my friend Johnny, who's the mad bomber,
Now there's
and he used it for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
You know, it's like nuclear energy is a wonderful thing. It lights up cities. Nuclear energy is fantastic. The work that nuclear energy does around the world is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's replaced so many things.
Yeah.
It also makes a bomb.
Yeah, it also makes an atom bomb.
You got tragedy.
I also want to ask you, because you're a man of great experience, Larry. You've spent a few years on this mortal coil. As far as technology goes, in your life, what do you think has had the biggest impact on humanity?
Boy, that's a heady question, Anthony. Opie didn't say that you were this smart. Opie led me wrong way here. Yeah, Opie screwed me up here. Mel Brooks, when he was the 2,000-year-old man in the funniest album ever made,
Oh, yeah.
was asked, "You've lived 2,000 years. What's the greatest thing you have seen in 2,000 years?" And he said, "In 2,000 years, the best thing I've seen is saran wrap. You can put tomatoes in it. You can put vegetables in it. You can put it in the freezer, and it's still good a year later." And Carl Reiner would say, "Well, what about outer space? That was good. Space was good.
Space was good."
So if I had to say the thing that shocked us the most, and you probably weren't born, Sputnik.
Oh, sure.
When Sputnik went up, Americans got hit with a stark reality. We weren't the first at something.
Right.
It's a scientist in a country that seemed so far away and way behind us sent a guy into space. That sent us spiraling. So as for a cataclysmic event, I would have to say space travel was unbelievable.
Absolutely. And
then you'd start to list other things as satellites.
Yeah.
Satellite, which is an offshoot of space travel. Could you picture sitting down with Thomas Jefferson and saying, "Hey, Tom, I got a little machine here. Turn it on. Ben Franklin's in Paris now negotiating. Talk to him." And you could see him.
Yeah.
In an instant. That's unbelievable. When I was on CNN, and when we went with the first international phone-in talk show, which was unbelievable. I'm talking to people all over the world.
Sure.
And I would go from my set 22,000 miles up and down to you across the street and another guy in Moscow.
Yeah, yeah.
Explain that.
It really
Explain
is
that
astounding.
logic. It's look at what we live in.
Yeah.
Look, I remember the first time I flew from New York to Miami. A bunch of guys, we were 18 years old. My first flight was New York to Miami. It was a prop plane, and we thought, this is unfreaking believable. 5.5 hours from New York to Miami.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Now I got on a plane the other day, New York to Miami, so we're going to be a little delayed. It's going to take 3 hours. Come on, 3 hours.
And then everyone gets all mad on the plane, but you don't realize.
Come on, 3 hours.
We do take for granted the miracles.
Look at the pioneers.
Yeah,
they go
yeah.
across.
Now
we fly over.
I was watching a documentary on the A380, the Airbus A380, and the wingspan is longer than the initial flight that the Wright brothers took, and that kind of really puts things in perspective when you hear things like that. We do take technology for granted. I think we've become expectant of things.
And kids. Kids grow up with this.
Oh, yeah. It's second nature.
Gone? You know what's gone, Anthony? Innocence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Innocence.
There's no wonder anymore. For example, you know what's disappeared? World's fairs.
Right.
There are no World's fairs. What are they going to show you?
Yeah.
What are they going to show you? Cars are going to park themselves. Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, we see it on commercials.
What are you going to show a kid? You know, I remember once, this was some years back, when my daughter was 17, I was flying to make a speech in San Francisco from Boston, and we were on a 747. And I said, "Look at this, Kaya, look at this. We're at the Atlantic Ocean. In 5.5 hours, we're going to be at the Pacific Ocean. This plane is going to fly us across the country. And she looked at me and says, "This is a bus that flies." What is it? It's not. It's a bus.
Yeah,
that
you know.
To me, every time an airplane takes off, I go, "What is this? How the hell did?"
It is amazing, and
How did it take off?
You're one of those guys, Larry, that you do look at things and don't just take it for granted or look at it on the outside. You delve into it. How does it work? How will this change us as a people? And for you to be in this line of work is fantastic to be able to share that with people that are watching.
And I also, here's bad, Anthony. I'm in technology. I'm on the internet. I do the tweets, but I try to fight it. I miss the typewriter. I miss the rotary phone.
Show those to kids. They won't even know what the hell it is.
You know, I like a lot about the past. So I'm sort of fighting things. Little things frighten me. For example, I have resisted the phone in the car where you don't have to dial anything. So I got a new car the other day, and finally they set it up so that my phone, which is not a cell phone, I have this phone.
I can't wait to see this. What do you have? Oh, you got a flip phone.
It's a phone.
It's
a phone.
Buttons.
You put it by your ear. Yes, buttons. I don't text. All right. I'm a simple person.
Sure.
Now I get in the car today. It's set up today. And I didn't realize I had it. So I dial a number on my phone. I get ready to listen. And suddenly the recipient of the call is in the car talking to me. I'm not holding anything.
No, it just comes out of the headliner in your car. Yeah.
On it removed.
You don't want
I don't like it. No, I don't need that around me. I don't need all that. Like they bring me in the car, they want to tell me all the things this car can do.
Yeah.
This car can have sex. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
You want to get from point A to point B, listen to a little radio.
Sex, inanimate object.
And that's
you don't have to
right.
There's no shifting anymore. Even automatic cars, buttons. Park, neutral, drive.
Don't you like a good lever?
That's right. The lights go off automatic. Crazy things. So I'm amazed at it all.
The other day, Larry.
I'm 81 years old.
Yes.
I can't believe I'm 81. When I was a kid, no one was 80. I never knew anyone.
That's true, yes. And they were old if they were 80.
Social Security was 65. You died at 66.
Right.
No, I'm not kidding. I remember once, me and my brother were sitting in the house. I must have been 13. My brother was 10. And my Uncle Izzy came over. Izzy must have been 55 years old.
Oh, shit.
And he sat down on a rocking chair and he would go, "Oi, oi." And I remember I said to my brother, "You think Izzy has sex?"
Oh,
No,
Jesus.
crazy. He's 55 years old. What, him and Tanta Anna are going to have sex? No way. Come on. No, 81. I can't believe I'm 81.
55
I can't believe
and your uncle was spent. That was it. Done.
Yeah, hey, what a day I had. Well, they worked hard. They worked harder. You know.
Sure.
For example, Anthony. Let's face it.
Mm-hmm.
We've never worked. If you're in broadcasting, you don't work.
No, you don't work in broadcasting.
This job. Let's sit down and talk for 2 hours.
We'll talk.
Okay, what a day I had. I'll tell you who worked today. The bus driver on Madison Avenue. He worked today.
Ralph
You
Crampton.
didn't work. Ralph Crampton.
That's Ralph Crampton.
I didn't work. I haven't worked in 58 years.
Yeah.
The last time I worked on United Parcel Service, I was a helper on the truck. I would help the driver. We deliver packages. That's the last time I worked.
And that was the last time.
For the past 58 years, once I got down to a microphone, I've never worked.
Well, Larry, earlier, before broadcasting, my career was sheet metal work. I did air conditioning and heating installation for many years. So I do understand the work ethic, and I understand what people have to go through to scrimp for their monthly bill payments and whatnot. But I do think, and even you on the back of that UPS truck, it does, and watching people you grew up with, especially working hard, it does give you a sort of appreciation for it. It makes you a little more humble and appreciative that you could come in, sit on your ass, and talk to someone, and that's your job.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Listen, my father died when I was 9.5. Me and my brother and we were on relief for 2 years. They call it relief. Now they call it welfare. New York City bought my first pair of glasses. New York City paid 3/4 of my rent every month. An inspector came to see what kind of meat we were eating.
Jesus.
But I wanted to get off it, but I appreciated it. You know, we were always the country. New York City was the kindest city in the world, and I appreciated that. And I never forgot where I came from.
Yeah.
I never forgot being poor. I never forgot it.
Did you ever have to, Larry? Did you ever have to check yourself though during your career when you were doing really well? Not that you aren't now, but at certain points of your career, did you have to say, "Hey, slow down. You're getting a little full of yourself"?
Oh yeah, of course. So what I have, I have an ego room at home. I have a trophy room with all the things, the honoraries, achievements, and the.
Sure.
Hey, I never went to college, and I got 7 honorary degrees.
Oh, Jesus.
I can't believe. I can't. I tell you the truth. I left Brooklyn, but Brooklyn never left me.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything that's happened to me. Sometimes I look at myself, Anthony, and I say, who is that guy? Or what am I going to be when I grow up?
Right.
In other words, I still appreciate. I don't own the microphone. I don't own the camera. It was always somebody else had to like me. And I appreciate all that's happened. And many times I'll go into that room at home and I'll sit down and say, wow. And I appreciate it, but I pinch myself and I bring myself back down to earth to know that someone said something the other day, you know what we're all doing now with our lives? We're just renting. We're just borrowing. We're going to be gone. And for this space of time, for whatever years we had, we borrowed it. Now we pass it on. We're gone. You're just borrowing. You don't own it,
absolutely
baby.
believe that too. You gotta count your blessings. Look at what you have, and really appreciate it. And keep that in mind that not everyone has the easiest of lives to live.
Damn right. And a lot of it's a gift. And I'll tell you I got to leave soon, but I'll tell you one other thing. To humble yourself. I got an honorary degree from Columbia University School of Medicine. Doctors. I never went to college. Now I'm speaking. I got the Columbia robes on, the light blue robes of Columbia University, on the grounds up there near Harlem, on the grounds of Columbia Presbyterian Hospital. There are the graduates. All these people in front of me, and there were about 60, are going to be doctors that day. They're going to be handed diplomas, and they're going to be doctors. And I had to speak. And I walked up to the podium, and they introduced me, and I had this thought of my mother in heaven looking down. She's looking down. She rubs her eyes and says, he's a doctor. He's a doctor.
That's fantastic. Larry,
hey,
before you go, I got to ask you something. The United States of America, we've seen what's happened over the course of the years. Media has obviously influenced a lot of people. Pessimistic or optimistic about the future of this country?
So everyone I ask this always says they're optimistic or guardedly optimistic. I'm going to quote Edward Bennett Williams, the great lawyer, the modern day Darrow. He passed away 20 years ago, but he was a very great friend of mine. He was a great lawyer. And I asked him that question. Ed, are you optimistic or pessimistic? He says, of course I'm pessimistic. I'm smart. I can't look at the world and be I try.
Yeah.
But it's hard,
I hear
man.
you. And you know what it is? It's the people that peel back those layers and look a little deeper that are more pessimistic. It's very easy to be pessimistic or optimistic if you just look at the surface. But if you dig deep, I believe you're always going to be pessimistic.
That's right. So, I'll give you a closing line.
Uh-huh.
Yes, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but there's a train coming directly. Right.
Absolutely. Larry King, always a pleasure to talk to you. I love having you on. Larry King, of course. Larry King Now on Aura TV. Politiking on Aura TV, also Tuesday and Thursday, 9:30. Larry King Now, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2 p.m. at King's Things on Twitter. Thank you so much, Larry King. Always a joy.
You got it, Anthony.
There he goes. Goddamn Larry King. He's great.